Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. So our today topic is curriculum planning. Now, what is curriculum planning? A curriculum plan is the advanced arrangement of learning opportunities for a particular population of learners. So a curriculum guide is a written curriculum. Now, it is the process of preparing for the duties of teaching, deciding upon goals and emphasis, determining curriculum content, selecting learning resources and classroom procedures. So, evaluating progress and looking toward next. It is defined as the process of selecting, organizing, executing, and evaluating learning experiences on the basis of the needs, abilities, and interests of the learner and the nature of the society or the community. So, curriculum laboratory is a place or workshop where curriculum materials are gathered, are used by teacher or learner of curriculum. So we can say that a resource unit is a collection or suggested learner activities and material organized around a given topic or area which a teacher might utilize in planning, so developing and evaluating a learning unit. Two school of thought on curriculum development. So two school of thought predominated throughout history of curriculum development. The first one is essentialist school, the second is progressive school. So we discuss both of the essentialist school. It means that it considers the curriculum as something rigid consisting of disciplined subject. It considers all learner as much as the same as it aims to fit the learner into the existing social order and thereby maintain the status of quo. So its major motivation is discipline and consider freedom as an outcome and not a means of education. Now, the second school of thought is progressive school. It conceives of the curriculum as something flexible based on area of interest. It is a learner-centered, having in mind that no two persons are alike. Its factor of motivation is individual achievement, believing that persons are naturally good. Now, the role of the teacher is to stimulate direct learning process. It uses a life experience approach to fit the student for future social life. Now, there are four basic principles according to Taylor model that purposes of the school, educational experiences related to the purpose and organization of the experiences, and the fourth or the last one is evaluation of the experience. Now, the second approach says that there are seven principles. The first one is diagnosis of learner needs and expectation of the larger society. The second is formulation of learning objective. The third is selection of the learning content. The fourth is organization of learning content. The fifth is selection of the learning experiences, and sixth is organization of learning activities. And the seventh one is determination of what to evaluate and the means of doing it. Now, there are steps in curriculum development. Like Taylor's question of curriculum development will provide four steps. The first step is what educational purposes should the school seek to attain? The second is what educational experiences can be provided that are likely to attain these purposes. The next is how can these educational experiences be effectively organized? And the last is how can we determine whether these purposes are being attained? Now, the first step is in answering Taylor question, we arrive the following basic steps of curriculum. The first is selection of aim, goal, and objective. Next is selection of learning experiences and content. The next is organization of learning experiences and evaluation of the extent to which the objective have been achieved. So the four steps above are basic because they can be more than four. Now, curriculum development. The selection of aim. Like some curriculum expert like Taylor says that the steps are followed in the sequence are a straight line. So this model can that assume that curriculum decision making follow a straight line is called linear model. Now, there's the first step is selection of aim, the second is selection of content and learning experiences, the third is organization of content and learning experiences. The fourth one is evaluation of learning outcome. Now, other scholars argue that curriculum decision making is not a simple learner linear process that necessarily start with aims. So one of them is Weller in 1978 who believed that curriculum decision making can start from any point and can come back to any of the point. For example, like this circle where we start that organization and integration of learning, expectation and content. So we have to evaluate it. The second is what are our aim, goal and objective. Next is selection of learning experiences. The fourth is selection of content. Now, curriculum uh, development, the second author that in 1968 says that they believe that curriculum process is a very complex set of activities and decision and they interact a lot. Like changes made in content may necessitate changes in experiences as well, which may again bring about changes in evaluation, etc. So evaluation, objective content and learning experiences, these are uh, interconnected with each other. Now, selection of aim and objective. Like every curriculum is aimed at developing in the learner certain competencies or abilities. So the curriculum process must therefore clearly identify the aim that the curriculum is intended to achieve. Now, curriculum aim range from the very broad to the more specific. In fact, that is why we use the term aim, goal, and objective to refer to them. So aim are broad statements which cover all of the experiences provided in the curriculum. Goal are tied to specific subject or group of content within the curriculum, while objective describe the more specific outcome that can be attained as a result of lesson or intersection instruction delivered at the classroom. Like there are factors in selecting of aim. The first one in analysis of our culture. So we should take into account our cultural values, our norms and expectation when selecting aim. The second is the present status of the learner. Like what has the learner already know? What are his or her characteristic? What is he or she ready for? The next is the state of our knowledge of the subject matter or content. We should examine new development in knowledge to see if they contain things that are of real value of the learner and society. Next is a relevance of the school philosophy of education. Like each nation has its own philosophy of education which its school try to implement. Nigeria's philosophy of education is contained in its national policy on education. We should ask whether the objective we select are relevant to the philosophy or not. So, the consistency of our theory of learning is the last factor. At any time in any society, there is a dominant conception of learning For example, our understanding of what learning is and how it takes place. For instance, the national policy of education anticipates that the Nigerian child is active, exploratory, and imaginative. Now, selection of content and learning experiences. Like content is what we teach, learning experiences is an activity which the learner engages in, which results in changes in his behavior. So we should select those content and learning experiences that will in attaining the goal of the curriculum. So there are some factors to consider in selecting both learning experiences and content. We shall first examine those criteria for selecting a learning experience. Now, factor of selecting learning experiences. The first one, validity. The second is relevance of life. The third is variety. Of fourth is suitability. Like in validity, this refer to the relevance of the stated learning experiences to the stated goal of the curriculum. The second is the relevance of life. Like learning experiences must be related to the life, real life situation in and out of school. The next is variety. Like learning experiences must cater to the needs of the of the different type of learner by providing different type of experiences. And the last is suitability, where a learning experiences must be suitable to the learner present state of learning and characteristics. Now, selection of learning experiences. There are two steps. The first is cumulation and multiple learning. Cumulation, where even though experiences provided may be different, they should all lead to the attainment of the same goal. Subsequent experiences should build on earlier ones. The next is multiple learning, where a single learning experience may bring about multiple outcomes. Such learning experiences are important because of their multiple benefits. Factors in selecting content. The validity means two things. Is the content related to the objectives, and is the content true or authentic? So in validity they have to check objective and their authenticity. The second is significance. Is the content significant or will lead it to the more mastery or more understanding of the course or subject? How much it is important. The next is utility. Here the question is whether the content selected is useful, for example, will lead to the acquisition of skills and knowledge that are considered useful by society. The next is interest. Is the content interesting to the learner, or can the content be made interesting to the learners? So how they can develop their interest. The next is learnability. Is the content selected such that learner can learn and understand given their present level? Now curriculum design, where the first is the subject area design, and then they integrate the design, the core curriculum design, the child centered design, and the social reconstruction design, the deschooling design. Now evaluation. Definition of evaluation, where curriculum evaluation is a systematic process of determining whether the curriculum are designed and implemented has produced or is producing the intended and desired result. Is the means of determining whether the program is meeting its goal, that is, whether the measure or outcome for a given set of instructional input match the intended or pre-specified outcomes. So there are two types of evaluation. The first is a humanistic approach, goal-free. The second is scientific approach, purpose-driven. Objective of evaluation. The first is scope, like teaching program cost effectiveness, and the second is timing, where formative, summative, and impact. The third is method, like quantitative or qualitative. The fourth is level, like classroom, school, national. The fifth is personal involved, like individual teacher committees or consultants.